The story begins with Doona dreaming about performing at a concert. The crowd cheers for her, but suddenly she falls into a body of water and lets herself sink as if she is saying goodbye to everything. She wakes up startled from the dream. Elsewhere, Jin and Lee Won-jun are on their way to Seoul. Jin is a big fan of the girl group Dream Suite, and his car is filled with their merchandise. Won-jun asks him to look after his mother now that he is leaving. He is moving to Seoul for college and wants to be closer to his school. He worries about his mother and sister, who were recently hospitalized, and Jin promises to help him. When Won-jun arrives at his shared apartment, he meets Doona, but she does not greet him back. He tries to talk to her, but she ignores him and keeps smoking. He also meets Jung-hoon, who explains the house's rules, and Seo-yoon, who welcomes him warmly. Won-jun starts cleaning his room, which annoys Doona because she can hear the noise through the floor. Later, he prepares pamphlets to advertise himself as a tutor and gets distracted while staring at Doona through his window. As the day passes, Won-jun puts up the pamphlets around the area and returns home. He notices her on the rooftop making a call. She looks at him and texts someone while saying that there is a stalker in her building, but the person ignores her messages. Meanwhile, Won-jun keeps cleaning his room when he gets a call from Seo-yoon, who tells him he's found his first tutoring client. Won-jun feels relieved because he needs the money to pay for rent and living expenses. Seo-yoon asks about the apartment, but gets distracted when a Dream Suite song starts playing. He reminds Won-jun to return his hoodie, and he realizes that he has been wearing it all day. The next day, Won-jun leaves the house while singing one of Dream Suite's songs. Doona hears him and accuses him of being a stalker. He tries to explain that he is not a fan and only recognized her after she mentioned it. He walks away, while Doona ignores a call from her mother and continues smoking. Later, Won-jun meets a potential client, and the meeting goes well. On his way back home, he runs into Jinju, a girl from his past. They go out for drinks and catch up. Jinju tells him that she also got into the same university and is happy to see a familiar face. When it starts snowing, Won-jun lends her his scarf before heading home. When he arrives, he finds Doona sitting outside in the snow, crying. He tries to ignore her, but she notices him and asks him never to sing her song again. As she walks away, she faints, and he calls an ambulance. At the hospital, Doona wakes up, and Won-jun pretends to be her younger brother. The doctor says that her body temperature is too low and that she needs warm socks and food. Won-jun quickly buys her socks and helps her put them on. The next morning, he wakes up to a call from Seo-yoon, who tells him that his tutoring client is no longer interested. The client thought he smoked because she smelled cigarettes on him. The scent came from his earlier interaction with Doona. Won-jun becomes upset that he lost the client because of her. He goes to pick up a package and finds her sitting on it. She invites him to have breakfast, but he refuses. Over the next few days, Doona follows him around and invites him to eat with her, but he always turns her down. He even changes his schedule to avoid her, but they still run into each other while hanging laundry. He jokingly asks if she has fallen for him, and she laughs while saying she only wants friendship. As he finishes hanging his clothes, she makes a wish while the sun rises. He watches her for a moment and almost falls for her. The constant interactions with Doona start to overwhelm Won-jun, and he wishes he could move to another building. At school, he meets Jinju again, who returns his scarf. It is clear that Won-jun still likes her. Later, he puts up more tutoring pamphlets, but the school guard asks him to take them down because they are not stamped. On his way home, he gets a call from Doona, who pretends to be a client. He tries to stay calm, but she pushes him to express his anger. He finally explodes and tells her that he needs a job to pay his rent and living expenses. He is not as privileged as she and cannot afford to waste time. Doona pretends not to care, but she acknowledges his struggles silently. The next day, she stops waiting for him, and Won-jun begins to feel guilty about his harsh words. He visits her place and offers to take her out for a meal, but she ignores him. A few days later, she shows up at his school during class and reminds him of his promise. He asks her to wait until class ends. Afterward, they go out for ice cream and make up. She warns him not to fall for her, and they joke around. She tells him that she will call him more often and asks him not to get angry. He agrees, but tells her to only call him during emergencies. The scene shifts to a flashback to the moment Doona quits her job as an idol. She is performing at a concert when everything becomes too overwhelming, and she faints on stage. A man rushes to help her as the audience watches in shock. For Doona, the moment feels like she is sinking underwater. In the present, she lives in a co-ed house with 3 men, including Won-jun. He is still trying to learn more about his roommates. He observes that Seo-yoon cannot keep a stable romantic relationship, while Jung-hoon has strict dating principles and mostly focuses on maintaining his fit and healthy body. Later, Doona gets ready to leave the house and walks to a nearby convenience store. Won-jun, who is on his way to his new job as a waiter, notices her but decides not to call out inside the store. Doona becomes nervous while thinking that someone might recognize her, but it turns out the man she worries about is only taking a photo to send to his boss. After buying dinner, she leaves the store and sees Won-jun, but before she can can call him. His bus arrives, and he leaves. At his new workplace, he is surprised to discover that Jinju also works there. They greet each other happily and start working together. During his break, Doona calls Wonjun, but he does not answer. Instead, he enjoys coffee with Jinju and recalls that he and Jinju met in high school. They used to compete for the top spot in class, and he liked her. One day, she asked Wonjun for help with a math problem, and they started to grow close. After work, Wonjun sees Jinju off, but he realizes later that they accidentally switched aprons back home. Doona stays inside, watching television and ignoring calls from her mother. She tries calling someone named Park, but he also ignores her. In another flashback, she receives a call from Park, who warns her to keep a low profile and stay out of trouble. In the present, Doona goes outside for some air and finds Wonjun feeding a cat. She tells him she hates it when people ignore her calls. He tries to explain that he was working, but she says she is talking about someone else. When he asks why she called, she says she wanted to hear his voice. Wonjun becomes flustered and does not respond. The next day, he receives a message inviting all civil engineering students to a welcome party for the new semester. He considers skipping it, but decides to attend after learning that students who miss it will be fined. While he is at the party, Doona stays home thinking about her past as an idol. Out of boredom, she calls Wonjun, but some rude guys interrupt the call and take his phone. When he tries to stop them, they threaten to beat him. Doona happens to be nearby to buy some drinks, so she rushes to help. She becomes furious at the men and nearly smashes a bottle on one of them, but Wonjun stops her and ends up with a small cut on his arm. At the clinic, he gets treated and tells Doona to control her temper. While they are talking outside, Jinju appears with her friends. She is surprised to see Wonjun with Doona, whom she recognizes as a famous idol. She starts talking about being a fan and asks if she can join them. Doona says no, but they all end up going to his house for drinks. Doona and Jinju get along surprisingly well and laugh together. They tease Wonjun about liking Jinju, and the atmosphere becomes playful. As it gets late, Jinju realizes she missed the last bus. Doona allows her to stay the night, and Jinju falls asleep mid-conversation. When Jinju's father calls, Doona answers the phone and pretends to be a friend while saying the party went on for a long time and Jinju is safe. He is impressed by her acting skills and jokes that she should have become an actress instead. This comment ruins the mood, and Doona steps out to smoke. Wonjun follows her, and they talk about his feelings for Jinju. She admits she feels jealous of their friendship because she has never had friends. As she gets up to leave, she almost trips, and he watches her. They end up standing close to each other, and Doona nearly kisses him, but stops herself and walks away. The next morning, Wonjun cannot stop thinking about the kiss. He goes to school and returns Jinju's apron. She tells him she saw him kissing Doona on the rooftop. He tries to explain, but before he can, he spots Seo Yoon and leaves. Later, he returns home and helps Doona with her trash and tells her about the misunderstanding with Jinju. Doona asks why he did not tell Jinju the truth, and he says he will, but he is afraid to expect too much. He explains that Jinju hurt him in the past because he misread her feelings. He also says he is not like Doona and cares about what others think, but his words upset Doona, and she storms off to her room. She thinks about her past while Wonjun wonders what is wrong with her. He calls Seo Yoon to ask if Doona is mentally unstable or has anger issues. He says he does not know, but she has always done things her own way. Later, Doona notices that Wonjun has taken out her trash properly and feels touched. She becomes even more emotional when he invites her to join him and the boys for dinner. Though she pretends to hesitate, she joins them, but Jonghoon is cold as always, while Seo Yoon is friendly. After dinner, Wonjun and Doona go for a walk. He asks why she quit music, and she says she felt like she could not sing anymore. He takes her to play a game, and she lights up with excitement, and watching her play makes him smile softly. A flashback shows what happened the night she collapsed on stage. She had told her manager that she was anxious, but he ignored her. Her group members glared at her and accused her of seeking attention. When she went on stage, the pressure became too much, and she fainted. Later, Wonjun tells Doona to take better care of herself and eat well. She tells him it is her birthday, and he pretends not to know, even though he secretly made her seaweed soup. She teases him about having feelings for her, but he says she is not his type. She offers to help him win over Jinju and gives him lessons. During the practice, she becomes visibly nervous as she realizes that Wonjun is naturally charming. That night, he calls Jinju and clarifies that nothing is going on between him and Doona. Meanwhile, she goes back to her room and is surprised to find a present and a message on her table. She rushes outside, barefoot, to find out who left it. The scene shifts to Wonjun explaining to her what happened after he called Jinju. He clarifies that he and Doona are not seeing each other, and she tells him that Jinju's reaction is a sign that she likes him. He disagrees while saying he has known Jinju for a long time and believes she prefers a man with much more to offer. Doona tells him to stop overthinking and seize the moment she promises to be there for him if Jinju ever her breaks his heart. As Wonjun gets ready for school, he finds some old photos of himself with Jinju. The flashback shows that they used to be very close, always smiling and studying together. Everyone thought they were dating, but Wonjun kept telling people they were only close friends, almost like soulmates. Meanwhile, Doona realizes someone is stalking her and taking photos. She quickly closes her windows and searches for hidden cameras. She finds none and tries to calm herself, but she accidentally locks herself in the bathroom. She tries to break the lock but fails. At the restaurant, Wonjun and Jinju continue working together. He gathers the courage to ask her out the next day, and she surprises him by saying yes. Excited, he rushes home to tell Doona the good news but finds her still locked in the bathroom. He breaks the door and frees her, and she hugs him tightly as she gets out. Later, he helps her fix a new lock, and she admits that she finds a man who can repair things around the house attractive. She tells him that she never had a father, and he shares that his own father passed away. When he asks if it was hard growing up without a dad, Doona says that it was not the absence of a father that hurt her, but losing the people who were there from the beginning. She realizes she is out of cigarettes, and Wonjun mentions that he saw some in her cabinet while looking for tools. Doona quickly grabs them, and he takes her out for fresh air. He introduces her to a fun game that helps her vent her anger, and they also play basketball together. Later, they sit under the sky, and she thanks him for helping her. He tells Doona about his upcoming date with Jinju, and she is happy for him. She advises him not to run away from his feelings, and he promises he will not. The next morning, Wonjun checks the weather forecast and excitedly prepares for his date. It starts to rain as they admire the cherry blossoms, and they take shelter at a bus stop. Seo-yun spots them on the way, so he offers a ride. During the drive, he overhears Wonjun talking with Seo-yun on the phone and realizes they know each other. When they reach the house, Seo-yun praises Seo-yun in front of Jinju. Doona asks if he and Jinju are dating, and he says they are not. Seo-yun playfully teases them to kiss, which makes the situation awkward. He excuses himself and leaves to buy ice cream. A flashback shows Wonjun and Jinju walking home on a snowy night. She was cold, and he gave her his scarf and hugged her. In the present, Doona joins him to get ice cream, and they joke around and walk back together. She stays outside to smoke, and Wonjun lends her his hoodie. Inside, Seo-yun quickly gives Jinju her favorite ice cream, but she loses her smile when she notices Doona wearing Wonjun's hoodie. Later, while cleaning up, Seo-yun admits that he likes Jinju and is trying to win her heart. Jinju, on the other hand, asks Doona if they can hang out again. A few days later, they meet at a friendly basketball game and cheer for Seo-yun and Jinju as they play. After the game, Seo-yun invites everyone to lunch, but Wonjun declines because he has class. Jinju leaves with Seo-yun, while Doona stays with Wonjun and warns him that if he wants to win Jinju, he must be more proactive because Seo-yun is clearly trying hard. She tells him to confess his feelings, and Wonjun admits that he once told Jinju how he felt, but she never gave him an answer. She said she was busy, and they lost touch for over a year. Now that they are friends again, he does not want to risk losing her. He jokingly tells Doona that her services as a relationship coach are no longer needed. Time passes, and Wonjun continues seeing Jinju, and she notices that Doona relies on him a lot. He explains that she has no friends, and he feels sorry for her. He invites Jinju over for drinks with his housemates, since it is April Fool's Day. They all share funny stories about lies they heard that day. Jinju mentions a guy who confessed to her, but says she has not given him an answer. Doona and Wonjun assume she is talking about the past confession from Wonjun, but Jinju laughs and says she is joking. Suddenly, Doona announces that she is being stalked and shows everyone proof. She points to a man outside the window taking photos of her. Wonjun immediately runs out to chase him and catches the man and takes his camera. To their shock, it turns out to be the young boy who works at the nearby convenience store. Doona gets furious and almost hits him with a bottle, but she stops herself. Wonjun makes the boy hand over all the photos and reports him to his parents, and boss Doona decides not to involve the police, but Wonjun keeps the evidence in case she changes her mind. Afterward, he walks Jinju home, and she tells him that she plans to move out of her parents' house because she wants to be independent. When Wonjun returns home, he finds Doona asleep on the couch and also notices a message from Park, accusing her of being a good liar and asking her to stop contacting him. He decides to stay the night at her place to make sure she is safe. When Doona wakes up and sees him sleeping on her sofa, she quietly joins him and rests her head on his lap. They spend the whole night cuddled together on the sofa. The next morning, as he takes a shower, he keeps thinking about that moment and wonders what it might mean. After showering, he sits down to study, but he cannot stop replaying the memory in his head. The following day, he goes to work at the amusement park, and Doona visits him. She feels disappointed when she sees that he is too busy even to take a lunch break. She pretends she is fine and decides to enjoy the rides alone, but it is not fun by herself. Still, she waits patiently for Wonjun to finish work. When his shift ends, they go out for dinner together. During dinner, Doona opens up about her past. She talks about a time when one of her concerts got canceled, and she suddenly had free time. She did not know what to do with herself and realized she knew nothing besides singing and dancing. That moment made her question who she was outside of being an idol. Wonjun shares about his sick sister and his aging mother. He says he has always dreamed of a simple, normal life. They open their fortune cookies together, and Wonjun is surprised to find a negative message. His fortune says he will meet an enemy who will leave him helpless. He laughs it off while saying he does not make enemies and feels no need to worry. Since the weather is nice, Doona suggests they go on another date on a good day. On their way home, she tells him not to overwork himself, and he admits that he is trying to take it easy but still feels guilty about leaving his family behind. After moving, he eventually found peace and happiness, and that made him feel bad. Doona assures him that his feelings are normal. He says he has never told anyone this before, and she laughs and calls him adorable. On the bus ride home, Doona reads her own fortune, and it tells her to leave her past relationship behind and focus on a new one. The next morning, Wonjun tells Jinju about the fortune cookie, and she asks him to give it to her so she can throw it away. They get distracted by a couple breaking up on the school grounds. Wonjun wonders if he knows the girl, but decides to ignore the thought. Later, he gives Jinju the fortune from his pants, but she notices the message is different. It turns out, Doona secretly switched the notes and left hers in his pocket. Somewhere else, Ira is called to her dorm by her friends because she is in trouble for breaking rules and already has 13 penalty points. She is more upset about her recent breakup than the punishment. Her friends take her along to a group date to cheer her up. Meanwhile, rumors spread that Doona visited the school to see Wonjun. Someone takes a photo of Doona and Wonjun having dinner, and the picture goes viral online. People start trolling her and making cruel jokes about her. This makes him angry, and he rushes home to check on her. But he finds her baking and trying to act calm. She tells him not to take it seriously because she is used to people talking about her online. Wonjun insists she should take the situation more seriously and offers to stand by her if she wants to release a public statement or hold a press conference. Doona jokingly asks what he would say if she did that and who he would say he is. They start teasing each other and pretend to be at a press conference together. Later that night, Jinju keeps thinking about the fortune cookie note. After dinner, she goes online and sees the viral photo of Doona. She immediately recognizes Wonjun in the picture and feels uneasy. The next day, Wonjun does his laundry and finds his original fortune cookie note. Feeling superstitious, he performs a small ritual and throws it away. He then sits down to study, but Doona interrupts him because he wants to go on a date since it is a beautiful day. She goes through his closet, picking a shirt for him to wear. He playfully tells her to keep some of his clothes at her place to make it seem like she has a boyfriend, while hoping it will scare away any stalkers. While they talk, Wonjun receives a call from Seo Yun, who urgently asks him to come to an address and says it is a life and death situation. Wonjun rushes there, only to find out he has been tricked into joining a group date. He is paired with Ira, and to his surprise, they know each other from childhood. They were born in the same hospital, only a minute apart, and lived in the same neighborhood. Their parents used to joke about arranging their marriage. Ira was often teased and bullied by him until she eventually moved to Brazil. Now that she is back, Wonjun tries to pretend he does not recognize her. During a party game, they are told to kiss, and Ira decides to test him. She moves closer, ready to kiss him, to see if he will admit who she is. He finally whispers that he remembers her and tries to avoid the kiss, but Ira keeps teasing him. As the night ends, Seo Yun goes home and finds Doona waiting for him. Without realizing it, he mentions that Wonjun kissed Ira and took her home. Doona stays outside smoking while waiting for him, but it takes him a while to return because he has to deal with a drunk, heartbroken Ira who keeps calling him her ex-fiancé. When he finally gets home, he finds Doona sitting outside. She has burned her finger while smoking and tells him her room lights are not working. He escorts her to her room and treats her burn. She asks about the blind date and notices that he smells like alcohol and women's perfume. Wonjun explains that he was with a girl, and Doona watches him quietly. As he puts ice on her finger, she winces in pain. He tells her that sometimes wounds start to hurt only after we notice them. She asks if that is why she is starting to feel something for him. The scene flashes back to the night they rode the bus together after dinner. Doona had let him sleep on her shoulder and secretly slipped her fortune cookie note into his pocket. Doona and Wonjun kiss, but Wonjun quickly pulls away and leaves without saying anything. Before he leaves completely, he checks Doona's breaker panel and fixes her lights. He then goes to his room and tries to sleep, but the memory of the kiss keeps him awake. The next day, he cannot focus because he keeps thinking about what happened. Later that evening, he finds Doona sitting on his bed listening to music. He brings up the kiss and explains that kissing friends is not something he does. When he asks if she likes him. She says she kissed him just for fun. Wonjun warns her that she might get hurt, but she tells him to stop taking life so seriously. The next morning, Wonjun sees a notice at the gate that Doona is looking for female roommates to live with her on the second floor of the building elsewhere. Ira runs into Seoyun and Jonghoon at the elevator. She has been evicted from her dorm and calls Wonjun asking for help, but he refuses. Meanwhile, Jinju meets with Sehun and finally confesses that she likes Wonjun, and Sehun admits that he already knew it. Jinju moves out of her parents' house and later receives an angry message from her father, threatening her for leaving. Ju has been struggling because of her toxic relationship with her dad. Tired of his behavior, she sends him a message saying goodbye and blocks him. Later, Jinju asks Wonjun to meet and finally tells him the truth about her family issues. The next day, Ira and her friends help her move into the house Seoyun tells her about the vacancy on Doona's floor, and she also calls Jinju after hearing she moved out of her parents' house. The three girls become roommates, and Wonjun becomes frustrated with the situation. Even though everyone gets along, Doona feels left out as Ira and Jinju talk about their old neighborhood. Later, Jinju tells Doona that she is ready to confess her feelings to Wonjun. Doona admits that she cannot wish them well because she also likes him. Jinju reminds her that she and Wonjun have a history together, and nothing can compare to that. She starts to feel less confident about her chances. Meanwhile, Ira laughs with her friends and tells them she accidentally saw one of the guys showering. She enjoys living in the house and says she might even find a new boyfriend. That evening, Doona meets a man who used to be an idol like her. They instantly connect and talk about what it is like to leave the spotlight. It becomes clear that Doona is deeply affected by the harsh comments people make about her online, especially those calling her an attention seeker. Back at home, Jinju borrows a blanket from Wonjun, and he tells her to grab one from his room. While there, she finds old photos of the two of them and also notices a box of Doona's cigarettes on his bed. Wonjun walks in and immediately understands what she is thinking. Later that night, after everyone gets drunk, Wonjun takes Jinju outside for a walk. They talk honestly about their past. Jinju explains that she liked him back then, but was afraid to admit it because her father always shamed her sister and controlled her. She was scared to date him and kept her feelings hidden. Wonjun listens carefully and tells her that he understands, but he no longer feels the same way. When Doona returns home from the club, Wonjun waits for her. He becomes angry when she arrives with another man. The man gets upset when Doona rejects his advances and Wonjun steps in to defend her. The man mocks him while saying he is no different from the others who fall for her attention. Furious, Wonjun slams the car door on the man's fingers. He turns to her and demands to know what she was thinking. Wonjun goes to the basketball court to release his anger, but Doona follows him. He tries to walk away, but she keeps following. Finally, he stops and confronts her. He asks what she meant when she told him to get over their kiss like everyone else. She tells him she went to the club to test her feelings for him and realizes she likes him a lot. She says she is not trying to play with him or make him obsessed with her. Doona and Wonjun are happily making out outside their house. Elsewhere, Ira coincidentally meets Jonghoon at his jiu-jitsu training club. She gets excited after winning against him and promises to start training there. Jonghoon is not pleased about this and misunderstands her excitement, thinking it is because he lost later. Wonjun visits his hometown and has drinks with Jin. He asks him more about dream girls and Doona, and he is surprised by his friend's sudden interest in his favorite girl group. As the night goes on, Jin falls asleep, and Wonjun searches online for more information about her. He discovers that her mother was involved in a debt and fraud scandal that affected Doona's public image. He also learns that she was raised by her grandmother and had a painful childhood. He watches old videos of her and smiles to himself. Drunk and emotional, Wonjun calls Doona and tells her about his late father, who used to run a paper shop. He shares how hard it was for him when his father died, and how the pain made him detach from everything around him. He explains that over time he realized he had to keep living and make his father proud. He encourages Doona to do the same, to live her life fully instead of hiding. He confesses that he likes her and wants to know her better. At the end of the call, Doona says she wishes she could see him. Wonjun immediately takes the next bus back to Seoul and finds Doona sleeping in his bed. The next morning, Doona comes out of Wonjun's room, and their roommates start wondering what is going on between them. Seoyun asks Wonjun directly, and he admits that he likes her a lot but struggles to explain more. Jinju feels hurt after hearing this and tries not to cry in front of everyone. Later, Ira, Jonghoon, and Seoyun hang out together and try to figure out the timeline of Doona and Wonjun's relationship, but Jonghoon is more concerned that it might break their house rules. That night, they all watch fireworks, and Ira confesses that she likes someone, to which Seoyun starts to believe she is talking about him. Meanwhile, Doona's mother visits her and asks her to return to the group since they are about to release a new album. She wants her to cash in on the opportunity, but Doona reminds her that there is nothing left because she already gave her all the money she earned. She asks if her mother ever cared why she quit the music industry. Her mother says it must be because she is lazy and ill-tempered. Doona is disappointed and heartbroken by her mother's attitude. Wonjun later learns that Jinju did not show up for work and receives a call from her asking to meet. When they meet, Jinju finally confesses her feelings and explains why she did not tell him sooner. She was going through a rough time with her family and could not handle a relationship. Wonjun gently tells her that he no longer feels the same way. They both agree that this closure is necessary and part ways with mutual respect. At the same time, Doona attends the unveiling of Dream Suite's new album. She hides in the crowd, not wanting her old manager to see her. After the show, she receives a message from her former manager Park, who asks if she came to the showcase. Back at home, Wonjun stays up waiting for her and tries calling her, but she does not answer. Ira sees him and gives him advice to take things slowly because Doona is a celebrity and is still unsure about defining their relationship. Ira worries that Wonjun is giving too much of himself, and he listens but can only sigh. Later, they meet at the station, and she asks him to go on a vacation with her. In a flashback, a young Doona is being dropped off at her grandmother's house by her mother. A few years later, her grandmother dies, and in the present, Doona takes Wonjun to her grandmother's old house. They ride bicycles in the rain and laugh together. The next morning, Wonjun wakes up to see her humming softly outside, and they watch the sunrise together. Elsewhere, Seo-yun tells Jung-hoon that he thinks Ira likes him, but he does not believe it. Ira later follows Jung-hoon to the jiu-jitsu club, where he does not go easy on her this time. She becomes flustered and starts following him around, asking him to go to lunch with her. He tries to refuse, but when she sees her ex-boyfriend with another girl and gets upset, he takes her out instead. Back to Doona and Wonjun. The couple goes for a walk while holding hands and enjoying their time together. When they return to Doona's grandmother's house, they find a man waiting. She immediately lets go of Wonjun's hand and tries to take her hand again, but she pulls away. Her actions hurt Wonjun deeply, but he stays behind at her grandmother's house, waiting for her to return. Doona gets in the car with Park and they drive away. During the drive, she confronts him for abandoning her and explains how it felt when he left her alone and ignored her calls and messages. Park insists that they need to fix her career before people forget her. He believes she is afraid of becoming irrelevant. She says she is done and wants to be forgotten. She demands that he stop the car, but he refuses. Desperate, she jumps out of the moving car and injures her leg. Park stops and tries to help her back into the car, but she starts crying and hitting him. He accuses her of being dramatic. Doona shouts that he is worse than her mother because he knew she liked him, but still left her. Park says she ruined everything and should stop acting like a victim. He reminds her that she abandoned the group during the tour and used them for her career. He says she is a mess because she keeps neglecting herself. As night falls, Wonjun is still waiting at Doona's grandmother's house. He tries calling her, but she does not answer. Park takes her to the hospital to check her leg, but she ignores his calls, which hurts him even more. He starts to wonder who Park really is in Doona's life. Soon, he receives a message with 2 bus tickets back to Seoul. After getting treatment, she refuses to get back into Park's car. She tells him that she is no longer afraid of his threats. He asks her why she came to the showcase, but she does not respond. Meanwhile, Wonjun heads home to be with his family, but his mother is caring for his sick sister at the hospital. Later, he visits Jin and laments that life feels too hard, and Jin tries to comfort him. He asks who celebrities usually date, and Jin casually replies that they often date other celebrities. Back at her grandmother's house, Doona returns and finds that Wonjun has already left. She checks her phone and sees that he called her 15 times. She starts thinking about Park's question and realizes she might miss her life as an idol. A flashback shows the first time she met Park, who told her that if she trusted him, he would take care of her like family. This memory makes her emotional. Elsewhere, Jung-hoon keeps thinking about Ra and wonders why he cannot stop. He gets a call from her asking him to visit her school to help with some clothing fittings. He agrees and goes. But when he comes out of the fitting room, she is gone. He hears her arguing with her ex-boyfriend, who wants her back. Jung-hoon steps in, defends her, and makes the man return the money he owes her. Ra becomes excited when Jung-hoon refers to her as his girl. They decide to have lunch together, and their bond starts to grow. Wonjun eventually returns to the dorm and finds Doona waiting for him. Even though he is angry and hurt, he tries to stay calm. She asks him to be honest and tell her how he feels. He asks if he even has the right to be angry, and why she will not apologize. He questions what she is doing with him if she acts like he means nothing. He accuses her of taking things too far, but before they can continue, Seo-yoon and Ra walk in and interrupt them. Wonjun leaves and tells Seo-yoon that he plans to move out. A flashback shows Doona and Park talking after she faints on stage. She told him she could no longer sing, and he advised her to take a break. He then told the CEO that they were pulling her out of the group. The group would continue with only 4 members. In the present, she meets one of her former bandmates for coffee to clear the air. The member tells her that she understood what happened and does not hold a grudge. She only wishes things had ended differently. They agree that even though they were not there for each other, they do not resent one another. Meanwhile, Jinju visits the restaurant to collect the things she left behind. She admits to Wonjun that she is still hurt and needs time to move on. She asks if he is happy and tells him he acts differently when he is with Doona. She says it is a good thing and hopes that time will heal her pain so they can be friends in the future. Later, Wonjun walks home thinking about his last conversation with her. When he gets home, Doona barges into his room to ask if he is really moving out. He tries to push her away, but she hugs him tightly. He comments that she smells like tobacco, and she says she quit smoking because she was jealous. He asks if the smell belongs to Park. Doona refuses to back down and tells him to stop being jealous. She says she will not leave because he is the one she wants. Wonjun asks why she left him behind, and Doona admits she made a mistake of taking things for granted until they are gone. She asks for forgiveness. Wonjun calls her selfish and says she is a mess. He vents his anger and ends up confessing that he still likes her. He asks her to apologize sincerely and assure him that he is the only one she wants. So she replies that she loves him. They start kissing, and Doona feels relieved and happy that they are back together. Wonjun and Doona go for walks together and even get matching rings. They attend concerts side by side, and everything seems perfect between them. Meanwhile, Seo-yoon finally realizes that Ira is not interested in him. She likes Seo-yoon-gun, who once picked her up when she got drunk with her friends, and they shared a kiss back to Wonjun and Doona. Things start to change, and Doona begins to feel the pull of the stage again. Watching the concert brings back memories and emotions she thought she had buried. When a singer invites her to perform on stage, she remembers how much singing means to her. It makes her feel alive again, but it also leaves her conflicted. Wonjun notices her restlessness and tells her he will support her no matter what. He says he wants to hear her sing again. Doona appreciates his support but knows he does not understand how her comeback could affect their relationship. She tries to explain that things will not be the same, but he insists they will make it work. Days pass, and Doona misses the stage more with each passing day and starts watching old videos of her performances. Wonjun focuses on his family as his sister prepares for surgery. While he is away, she receives a letter from her former label. The company is suing her for breach of contract. She immediately contacts Park to ask what happened to their agreement to end the contract under the condition that she would not sing. Again, Park tells her that President Ma still wants revenge. He suggests Doona make a comeback before the company starts spreading rumors and drags the case out for years. He calls this her last chance to return but warns that she must leave Wonjun behind. Doona feels overwhelmed and goes to visit Jinju to clear her mind. Jinju is doing better now and feels free after cutting ties with her father. A flashback shows how her father was rude to Doona when she once called him. The night Jinju stayed at her place, Jinju apologizes and senses that something is bothering her. When she asks what is wrong, Doona says she just missed her, and Jinju hugs her. Meanwhile, Wonjun returns from his hometown and notices signs that something is off. He sees sleeping pills on Doona's table and cigarettes in the trash, which belong to Park. Wonjun confronts Park and tells him to stay away from her. Park remains calm and tells him to face reality. He says it is unlikely their relationship will survive and reminds him of his military service and school. Park explains that her comeback is risky and that he should leave her for her own good. Doona later meets with Park and President Ma to discuss her future. They agree that Doona will have creative freedom and choose her own songs and collaborators. Park takes her to a new apartment and promises to help her move out of the dorm. She is uneasy about how to break up with Wonjun. She tells Park that she does not want to hurt him but feels she must do it for her happiness. Park tells her he has already met Wonjun and advises her to cut contact with everyone she knows. When she asks what they talked about, he refuses to tell her. A flashback reveals that Wonjun knew everything was changing the moment Doona got on stage at the concert. He realized that her heart was returning to music. Life continues as time passes each day without waiting for anyone. Doona returns to the company and finds great success as a solo artist after going through a difficult period. Wonjun also goes back to his own life, but he still texts Doona every day to share his thoughts and small details of his life, even though she never replies. He misses her deeply, but can only look at her face through advertising posters and TV screens. One snowy day, while walking down the street, Wonjun suddenly sees Doona standing ahead of him. He quickly walks toward her, and she asks him to have dinner with her. During their meal, Doona tries to speak softly and warmly to close the distance between them, but Wonjun remains cold. She explains that she has been banned from using her phone and is under strict supervision by her company. She asks him to be patient until her career stabilizes and they can be together openly. Wonjun listens quietly and then tells her that he is preparing to go to the military. He adds that it would be best if their story ended here. Doona is shocked and storms off while he follows behind her. She turns around and reminds him that she once told Park that she would be with him and love him forever, but he is the one giving up first. When he confirms that he really wants to end things, Doona leaves in tears. Before stepping into the subway, she looks back one last time, hoping to see him running after her, but he just stands there with tears streaming down his face. Time passes, and Wonjun joins the army. Doona continues her journey in the spotlight. When Park finally returns her phone, she looks through all of Wonjun's old messages and feels her heart break. She misses her sweet, caring younger boyfriend deeply. 2 years later, Wonjun completes his military service and returns to Seoul. He prepares for the civil service exam and looks for a job. It has been 4 years since Doona began her solo career. As he walks through the city, he sees her face on billboards, posters, and television screens. He smiles and feels happy for her success. The owner of the old shared house plans to renovate the place where all the friends once lived together. The group decides to meet there for one last gathering, and everyone shows up except Doona. As usual, Seo-yun jokes and tells Wonjun to invite her, but I-Ra quickly scolds him for speaking without thinking. After everyone leaves, Wonjun returns to the inn to collect his coat and unexpectedly finds Doona there. Seeing her again is something he never imagined, especially now when he thought he had completely let go. His heart starts pounding when he sees her familiar figure standing there, smoking quietly. Doona greets him softly, and he only nods before going upstairs to get his coat. Later, they go out for a drink together, and Doona keeps looking at Wonjun with a warm and happy expression, but he stays distant and cold. She goes home crying because she cannot stand his coldness anymore. She still loves him and cannot bear the thought of losing him again. She rushes to his home and bursts out angrily, asking why he treats her like a stranger. She reminds him that it was because of his support that she survived her lowest days. Now that she has regained everything, she does not understand why he avoids her. She says she has everything she needs now and can live without him, but her words are only a cover for how much she still needs him. Doona then scolds Wonjun repeatedly and demands that he apologize to her. She forces him to say he regrets treating her this way. He gives in and apologizes and admits that he regrets it. Hearing this, Doona's anger softens and she hugs him tightly. At that moment, Wonjun can no longer hide his feelings. His tears fall freely as he holds her close because both of them are overwhelmed by love and pain that never truly faded.